Final Stop Brazil, Book 2, Life After Hell, Chapter 23, Serious Difficulties. 5th of June, 2007. Nothing changed, but it would have been too easy. Unfortunately, here and generally nothing in my life was simple and easy. The week after the cultural events had been for me very embarrassing. From all sides I was asked if it was something serious between me and Tobias. The rumors were on the bubble. After my visit request for Tobias was not responded, I spoke with the school principal, to which I had a very good connection. She responded very understanding, because she knew I had no visitors, but she warned me that it would be quite difficult, because Tobias organized several projects for the prisoners and was therefore banned from visiting anyone due to conflict of interest. However, she offered to ask the funcionarios to make an exception. Again, I submitted a post to participate in a new literary competition, of which the 30 best writers were able to win 500 reais and various books. More than the awards attracted me to show the Brazilians that I could do better than them. After I submitted my short story first to the professor of literature and then to another professor, both independently confirmed that I had best chances to finish in the top 30. Unfortunately, I never got into the top, neither with the first nor with the other story, because it would have never been allowed by the Brazilian judicial system that a German prisoner would ever get a Brazilian literature prize. I was convinced that my work never left the prison. Then a new shock. Tobias was not permitted to visit me. Shortly after began a new samba rock course. I was, heaven knew why, or Negro Rico, because I had not signed up for it, back on the course again. By the jostling of Eleanor, I went with her again. When Tobias arrived, he threw me a furtive, almost embarrassed look, but nothing more. A part of an "Oi" as welcome, not a single word, which irritated me a lot. But I recalled where we were here, so I tried one more time. I think there's a problem in terms of visitor's permit, to which he replied, "Yes, could be difficult, but I'll do it, don't worry, I will visit you." The way he said it made me doubt it, however, and my feeling was not mistaken. Throughout the hour of dancing he kept distant from me, instead was busy talking with other prisoners. Though he gave me constantly short looks, but also his departure was pretty cool. Thus I drew a line under this short story and treated Tobias in all other dance classes like non-existent. On Wesley's next visit he told me that the appeal outcome would be expected by the end of the year, and he was very confident that I would then probably also be released. If this was not the case, he planned, together with a calculation of remission, which I achieved already, reduction by work, enforced liberdade condicional, conditional freedom for me. But what shall I do with it? I will definitely stay in Brazil. I've broken all the bridges behind me. I will not and cannot go back, I told him once again. Now wait for your freedom and then we'll see. He tried to put down the brake on me. I cannot wait that long. I want to make sure that I can stay, and I mean legal. Wesley remarked that it would not be easy, but also not impossible, for me to remain without marriage. Then help me. I'm willing to pay for it. My freedom by the end of this year? I couldn't feel happy about it. A week later, Mr. Sturm came to visit me. Of course, he brought next to an exceptional good message, no personal mail, whereupon even a Mr. Sturm was also somewhat surprised. I explained to him that I would refuse in the future accepting mail from Germany, and asked him to send anything back which eventually should arrive. I don't want and cannot take no more. On the long run, it's better for me. My son has to live with his decision, but I also have a right to live my life. I reasoned it. Mr. Sturm warned that he could not simply send mail back from the social services. "Oh yes, you can, because I already no longer have custody. So, What's it all good for? I got upset. Pretending dismayed, Mr. Storm remarked that he didn't know. On this infamous lie, I had no answer. However, the good news was that my Spanish bank responded to my letter and was willing to pay my money to the account of Wesley. It took a load off my mind. At least I would have money available for a new beginning. After 10 minutes, the conversation was over. By God, Mr. Storm and I had nothing to say to each other, but he gave me the impression that I was at least rehabilitated in his eyes, with the assumption that I lied during the entire period in respect of claiming I had money on a Spanish account. After 5 months of peaceful coexistence in my cell, a real thunderstorm was coming up. It was time again. Apparently, there were no Brazilian prisoners who could be peaceful in the long run. The enormous depressive Dona Marinalva began searching and found reason to start off an ugly dispute. She certainly didn't want my TV being switched on. Yes, she had her own, a tiny black and white device, which she had used mainly for listening to the radio. Now I had neither light nor information because she insisted on watching her TV, so I saw nothing. I didn't put up with it and threatened her to make sure the TV would go into inclusion unless she would become reasonable. During the 5 months, I gave her permission again and again to use my TV any time, regardless of whether I was in the cell or not. This, however, she didn't want to, but that was her problem. Upon my threat, she was downright hysterical, called the guards, and insisted that my TV would be removed from the cell. I was running risk to go to castigo, because officially only one television in every cell was allowed. But so far, this fact that the two of us had one was generously overlooked by the guards. On Monday, my TV was in fact collected. Furious, I went to the on-duty police officers. Throw it straight to the trash. I no longer want it. Whereupon I was told, another such a command and you go into castigo. Boiling with rage, I got carried away and allowed myself to a manifestation which almost cost my head at the big PCC sisters. If my TV is going to inclusion, then the pedereca, self-made device from the stolen heating coils of the showers to heat water, of that old bag is also going. Immediately our cell was searched. This made a round very quickly, and everybody knew why this was happening. After the police had finished, I initially returned to work. After work, when I wanted to sort my things, I was physically attacked by Dona Marinalva. Since I would never beat an old woman, I called the guards for help. We both got a dressing. If you two can't get peace here, the both of you are going into castigo. So I grabbed my school things and wanted to wait in the hall until I was allowed to go to school. The guard, Seu Walter, stopped me to ask me why I had buggered that old woman with a pedereca, and that this was a big mistake. Now I had the entire pavilion against me. I have anyway, so I have nothing to lose, I replied defiantly. He then warned me. Now we can protect you, perhaps, but you know the prison is not in our hands. If a new riot would break out now, you are completely defenseless. I opposed. I have nothing to lose except my life. I have no fear. Now, can I please go into the hall? I'm sick of this xenophobia here, and that no one opens their mouths. This only happened again because we are constantly pushed around. With that, I left him pretty flabbergasted. But before I could go to school, I couldn't avoid a talk with his sisters, telling me that it was absolutely forbidden to speak with the guards and to give them any information, etc. Of course, they were talking about the pedereca. Fearless, I asked them, but the old woman may speak with the guards and make sure that my TV is removed from the cell? That's okay. Faster than I could see, I was moved again and ended up, against my will, in the CO, where I suffered the most from the psychological terror of Donna Mara and Liliane. Fortunately, Donna Mara had long been released. Liliane was in the prison hospital, and only the third one, Rosalie, was still left of the crowd, and divided the cell now with Regina. Both were quite peaceful, but should Liliane have returned, as it was announced on the 15th of the month, it would never ever go well. Thus again, the search began for a place in another pavilion. For in this one it was like running the gauntlet. For everybody I was now the evil traitor. So what? They would calm down again. Finito. Finito, finito, finito.